Jagex says yet again amended the Delve Boss rewards. I'm pretty sure we looked at this like last week or something at the end of the subathon. Is that right? We're back again with another update. They're back with the final Delve Boss reward blog update ahead of polling. While we're sure you're eager or dreading to hear what we're changing, like the amount of times they've changed this boss now, we'd like to take a moment to reflect on how things have gone so far. Okay, let's get a good recap. Okay, to say that nailing these rewards has been a challenge would be an understatement, of course. Find better ways. So what they want to do is they want to find better ways of discussing difficulty / target audiences for content that properly set expectations. In earlier stages, it wasn't clear to you exactly what kind of content this was and who it was positioned for, leading to confusing conversations around a cape reward that would have been avoided if we'd have come out of the gate with more clarity. Right. Okay. So they just need to be more clear on whether it's actually going to be the next Mage Cape upgrade or next Infernal or Quiver upgrade, rather than just fucking around. Makes sense. Improve our screening internally for potential rewards so that we're sure anything we propose is something we're ultimately comfortable seeing in the game. We saw a suggestion for the Demonic Digger, thought it was cool and ran with it, but could have spent more time interrogating how our proposal would interact with the ways players train farming, whether or not the resultant play patterns would be fun or lead to an increased sense of dailyscape, and how it would impact the economy surrounding farming, herblore, and extension PVM. What was the problem with the Demonic Digger that people had originally? Wasn't it just people didn't like that it farmed the entire patch at once, right? I saw someone was saying that like watermelons and snake grass would become the new meta for farming, and it would kill herb runs and tree runs, which it didn't make sense to me. It was too leaguesy? Right, okay. I understand that. It was quite leaguesy. I think that was the first impression I got. Yeah, I loved the idea of it, personally. Yeah, what's this whole dailyscape thing? Like, so I remember someone commenting on my video saying it will devalue herb runs and tree runs, which makes no sense to me because you're always going to need herbs, and herb runs are always going to be valuable, especially for ironmen. And tree runs are dead content, irrelevant horseshit anyway. Like, at the end of the day, if snake grass becomes the next best meta to train farming, it won't stop you from doing tree runs. You'll just do tree runs and snake grass, right? Like, why would you stop doing tree runs rather than add this on top of your tree runs to make it even more efficient? So it won't kill tree runs, right? Snake grass seeds would go up in value. Snake grass seeds are already fucking hard enough to get. So yeah. Herbs will always be relevant because of potions, exactly. Snake grass seeds are already quite difficult to get, and tree runs won't die because of that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't actually care, to be honest. I love the name the Demonic Digger. The new way that they proposed it made it seem kind of pointless, like not worth farming. But I understand the whole legacy approach, so yeah, fair enough. Bet it was Ultimate Ironman bitching about ground items. I have no clue, dude. Be more proactive at tackling balancing blockades sooner rather than later. These discussions have made it clear that Turmeric and Shadow has magic in a vice grip, which has loomed over any resultant conversations about magic reward space and made it difficult for us all to focus on the rewards proposed. Absolutely, yes. Alright, specific changes are incoming imminently. But before you scroll down, we'd like to thank you all for the... I don't give a fuck. Thank you. Alright, so the polls open next week, Monday, March 31st, which, by the way, the servers are also going down for 4 hours on March 31st, so just be aware of that. Confliction Gauntlets. Remember these things? We just said about Turmeric and Shadow looming over every conversation. Before we talk about the Gauntlets, let's talk about the Shadow. Right. There's no shying away from it, but there are fundamental issues with the Shadow that effectively dictate what we can and can't do for any and all discussions around magic rewards. We don't like having our hands tied to this, and it's clear that you don't either. Unfortunately, we don't believe that we'll be able to make adjustments to a prestigious, valuable weapon like the Shadow and stick the landing on any changes alongside all the other work that we're doing on Valamore. We are, however, willing to make a commitment to you, so we're ready to screenshot this and make sure... Get ready to screenshot it and make sure to hold us accountable. Gather and... Who the fuck is writing this, man? We will make adjustments to Turmeric and Shadow before we discuss any future best in slot magic rewards space. We will make adjustments to Turmeric and Shadow before we discuss any future best in slot magic rewards space. We can't confirm any commitments on timing here, but we cannot and will not put ourselves and all of you as players/voters in the same position again, so it's something we'll absolutely tackle before proposing any future upgrades that might benefit the Shadow. So, in other words, it's highly likely the Shadow is going to be nerfed before it's going to get any stronger after the Delve boss release. That's what that's saying, right? Panic sell the Shadow. The Shadow will likely see a nerf before it sees any further buffs. Okay. That being said, our band-aid fix for the gauntlets was a tad divisive. In the short term, we're not going to be able to avoid the band-aid fix, but we do this in the knowledge that said band-aids can be pulled off whenever changes to the Shadow are implemented. Some players pointed out that restricting the gauntlet's effect to attacks with Vortex meant that the standard spells or ancient magics wouldn't be able to benefit from them. This was an oversight, that's what we said. We had concerns around use case like freezes in PvP. I think that was great to have that in PvP. Blood spells healing in content where it's typically too inaccurate to be worth using, or potentially having to curtail elemental weaknesses to account for additional accuracy. We're not dead set on any of these being over problematic, so we'll be adjusting the gauntlet's passive effect to remove the Vortex restriction and instead benefit one-handed weapons only. We'll be monitoring these use cases closely. Okay, that's a lot better. I like that. So unless you're using the Shadow, you're good, right? One-handed. Okay, I like that. That's better. I like that they made it PvP, able to use this in PvP, because these would be so expensive and so like, so good to use in PvP. Tele blocking, freezing, entangling, any sort of magic damaging spells as well. Beyond that, healing, like this would be really fucking dangerous and risky because they're going to be fucking expensive to use. So that's awesome. And the Shadow still obviously gets the 7% over 5%, so the 6% buff in damage, which is insane. So people are still going to be using them. All high-end and rich players will quit all content and just farm snake grass. Why? Why though? Snake grass. Why would they do that? If rich players would just farm snake grass, what for? Set endgame item won't be available to normal non-rich players, so snake grass won't overflood the economy by normies. How much snake grass is in the economy at the moment? There's no way people are worried about oversaturation of snake grass. Shit that spawns on the fucking floor. What? Where's the GE? There. The 40,000 are traded an hour, bought and sold. I don't think we have a snake grass. We have to worry about snake grass being like too heavily saturated in the economy, dude. I think we're good in the long run. That's quite normal. I think people are over exaggerating how bad it will be at the end of the day. If snake grass goes down in value, Ranarr weed goes up in value, right? It'll balance out for the price of the prayer pot at the end of the day. So as long as prayer pots maintain their value, it just means your Ranarr seeds and herbs will just go up. If we lose 500 GP on snake grass, we gain 500 GP on your herbs, which gains overall, what, 6k, 3k at least on your seeds? Doesn't matter, right? It'll balance out. Plus, I don't think it's that deep. I don't think farming is that heavily, like, sought after. But anyway, the Demon Spade, which is the Demonic Digger. To be blunt, we believe that the Demonic Digger has initially proposed was too strong and that knocking its power down was the right call. Understandable. We appreciate that the notion of preserving skills or conversations around whether increases to XP rates matter or not is a hot topic, with loads of people on both sides of the fence. But ultimately, it's our responsibility to steward the game's long-term health, meaning we take this sort of feedback seriously whenever it crops up and evaluate it based on the merits. Okay. The flip side of this is that the version of the Spade we are comfortable releasing doesn't feel right for this level of content, which is feedback we agree with. As it stands, Demon Spade sits in an old spot where we feel it does have a use, but it would have to be very common to make sense coming from this tier of content, and thus be passively obtained en masse by players farming the more valuable uniques, ultimately making a negligible impact in the profitability of Osto. Alright. With this in mind, we're making the difficult decision to remove the Demonic Digger from the reward offerings. Okay. It's never been fun shoving content, but we'd like to make it clear that we understand the want for something cool that benefits farming. Alright. A skill which hasn't seen any particularly impactful unique upgrade since the bottomless compost bucket. I don't think... Do we really think farming needs an upgrade, though? Is that... Farming is a plant and wait fucking skill, unless you do tithe farming. What more is there that you need? We've seen suggestions to attach similar rewards to quests, diaries, or other content, and we believe that we will see something offering similar functionality to the Demonic Digger in the future. Okay, faster time. You have that with your seeds from Hespori. We believe the Eye of Ayak, Confliction Gauntlets, and Avernic Treads are consumable tiers, make for a tight and impactful set of rewards which should remain in high demand and give seasoned gamers an incentive to risk it all at the deeper delve levels. So we'll be heading to the polls for these now. Okay, so, alright, so they're scrapping the Digger, and they've made the Gauntlets better. That's pretty much it. And they've also confirmed that at some point you can expect the Turmeric and Shadow to be nerfed before they buff it after the Gauntlets. The Gauntlets will be the last magical buff we're going to see. The Yama's not giving us anything, is it? I don't think Yama... The Yama rewards are going to be anything that we see, right? Magically, I can't remember now. No, there was. Wasn't there like a new amulet or some shit? Or was that the original Delve Boss rewards? I can't fucking remember. We might have it on here. Hold up. Wherever the fuck Yama is. Hopefully Shadow goes under a bill now so I can snag one. I mean, that would be good for people that can't afford them, absolutely. But it won't be good for the raid. The boots from Yama, the boots are from the Delve Boss as well, aren't they? Yama has the Oath Plate, Death Charge Surge Potion, the new runes, the worms, and the horn, right? There's so much new big content like this coming to the game. I get confused. Okay, so basically, yes. What Jagex is saying here then is that you can expect the Gauntlets to be the last best in slot magic upgrade we get until they look at nerfing the Shadow. So, but I can probably assume that if they nerf the Shadow, you're not going to lose. It would be more like a nerf the Shadow and buff other items around it to keep the Shadow in a similar spot. They might just rework the way or put a limit on how the Shadow can gain different items and stuff. Yeah, the boots come from this boss too. Should have made Shovel untradeable and cost coins if you want the effect to fully farm patches instead of 2x speed. They could do something like that easily, like make it cost just as much as you're kind of using. That's not a bad idea. Was Shadow always 1.2 bill? It has been for quite a while now, yes. I mean, I'm not opposed to this change here. I like that they made it one-handed. That was a smart play. PvP missing out and pretty much anything that wasn't a Trident or Sangstaff or Warp Scepter or the Accursed Scepter missing out was a big L. Shame about the Spade, but at the end of the day, it's farming. Who gives a fuck? And the Ayak and the Eye of Ayak and the Avernic Treads are good. I'm looking forward to voting yes on probably all of it come 31st next Monday. So looking forward to that. Big changes. Rip Blue Moon Star. Honestly, as long as Jagex look at buffing the accuracy on Ancestral, because Ancestral needs to be more accurate than it already is, considering that Aram's, Virtus, and Ancestral, well, Virtus and Ancestral have the same accuracy, right? But Aram's has like 5 less mage accuracy. There's no fucking point buying Ancestral, right? Unless you're running a Shadow for the damage. The accuracy is arguably the exact same, so they should make Ancestral better. In my opinion, it should be more accurate than Virtus by a long shot. So maybe they can do that in turn of, you know, nerfing the Shadow, buff Ancestral, so there's still some love for the Shadow without, you know, ruining the rest of Mage. I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm just a big dog with a big dick. But there's your new blog update. Hopefully we get to finally lock this in and put it behind us. This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple. You got a big boy. Look at him. God damn. Fuck me. Look at that boy. It's huge. You got a big boy.